This is Imagine Air Theater. I'm your host, Terry Phillips. You're about to hear episode 1 of a special 4-part miniseries called The Most Dangerous Man. It's co-authored by Roy Schreiber and me. Unlike previous plays in this podcast, which are works of fiction, this one is a historical drama based on real events. Whether you're a new listener or a regular, welcome to the program, and thanks for joining us. In 1917, the world was in the throes of its first global conflict, the war to end all wars. After America joined the fight, Congress passed laws prohibiting anyone from interfering with the war effort. Violators could face long prison sentences. But in the American Midwest, one popular labor leader was vehemently against the war. Who was this person, and how far was he willing to go in opposition? Stay tuned for the first episode of The Most Dangerous Man. But first, if you like our plays and want to hear more, you can support us by becoming an Imagine Air Theater patron on Patreon. Just visit www.patreon.com/imagineair. I'll have more information about that at the end of this episode. And now, on with the show. June 1918. World War I still rages in Europe, with millions of casualties mounting and no end yet in sight. One anti-war activist, Eugene V. Debs, has drawn the attention of a certain patriotic journalist in Ohio.
Yes?
Mr. Wertz, that newspaper reporter is here.
Thanks, Janet. Send him in.
I'm Clyde Miller, Cleveland Plain Dealer.
Edwin Wertz. Nice to meet you, Miller. Come in. Have a seat.
Thanks for seeing me, sir.
So, you came to talk about Eugene Debs?
Yes, sir. As a federal prosecutor, I'm sure you know that Debs led that big railroad strike against Pullman.
Of course. That was back in '94. We locked him up for 6 months after he violated a court injunction.
Right. But that didn't stop him. Debs got more involved in politics.
Yes.
He founded the Socialist Party and ran for president 4 times. In 1900. 04, 08.
I'm aware of all that, Miller.
But what you don't know, Mr. Wertz, is that he might try to defy the Espionage Act.
What's that you say?
Debs is planning to make an anti-war speech next week. My sources tell me he's been invited to talk at a rally in Canton on June 16th.
Well, I don't see how that...
They're expecting a huge crowd. More than 1,000 people.
Good Lord.
Some folks are talking about a general strike. Marches to the state capitol. It could lead to riots.
Now, wait a minute.
I'm telling you, Mr. Wertz, Debs can be very persuasive. He's a real charmer. A most dangerous man. He has to be stopped.
Still, this is a free country.
But we're at war.
Oh, I know. Nevertheless, I can't have him arrested without explicit proof of interference with the war effort.
The speech could be the proof you need.
Where exactly is this rally supposed to happen?
Let me see. Nimisila Park, on the northeast side of town.
All right. Well, listen, Miller. You attend that rally as a journalist, take down what Debs actually says, then let me know.
I'll do that.
And provided Washington approves, I'll consider pressing charges, if you bring me concrete evidence.
Oh, you'll have the evidence, all right.
That is assuming he even shows up, of course.
Of course. I only hope it doesn't come in the form of blood in the streets. The fate of the free world may depend on what we do here.
All right, calm down.
I'll telephone you right afterwards with a personal account of what happens.
Fine. And you would be willing to testify in court?
Certainly. Anything to stop that traitor. My paper will have a photographer there, too. Don't worry. We'll get you what you need to put him in jail, where he belongs.
Meanwhile, outside a modest home in the small town of Terre Haute, Indiana.
Crap, mother! Go back to Berlin! Traitor! Traitor!
Eugene, you're bleeding. Here, sit down. Put this towel around your hand.
Now, don't make a fuss, Katie. I'm fine.
And you want to go all the way to Canton, Ohio to give a speech? Look what happens when you go outside here at home.
It seems to me that making a speech is less dangerous than planting flowers on our front porch. I'm not hiding in the house all day. Besides, I don't see what one thing has to do with the other.
Gene, what am I going to do with you? They killed President McKinley, didn't they? They took a shot at Teddy Roosevelt, too.
They? Just some crazy loners.
Sure, you say that now.
I've run for president 4 times, and here I am, safe and sound.
Run for president all you like, but you have to keep telling everyone America should have stayed out of the war.
Yes, my love. Woodrow Wilson and his people made a mistake. They need to make it right.
Even if by stepping outside you make them mad enough to throw rocks at you?
Well, the rocks miss me. They hit the flower pot instead. I just cut myself picking up some broken pieces, see?
You were lucky this time.
But all those boys are getting killed just to make rich men richer. They weren't lucky. I can't ignore it. Come on, Katie.
Come on, Katie me all you want. You keep this up and big trouble is right around the corner.
The government only managed to keep me in jail for a few months, sweetheart, and that was years ago.
I've read those socialist papers of yours. It's worse now.
What did I miss?
The new law that President Wilson just signed.
Well, he signed lots of new laws. Which one?
The one that's so strict you could get 20 years in prison for just saying the Lord's Prayer.
They'd throw me in jail if I said, "Forgive us our trespasses"?
No, they would throw you in jail if you said, "Forgive those who trespassed against us." That could mean you don't want our boys to fight the Germans.
Don't you see? Those people want us to keep our mouths shut and let them get on with their unjust war. I say no golden silences and no to this war.
So we're back to where we started.
We started with you looking after my hand.
We started with me telling you not to go to Canton. Now you sound like you're rehearsing a speech.
Katie, how can I say no to the good people who invited me there?
With jail staring you in the face. I can't figure out how you could say yes.
I could give a speech that doesn't really cross the line. The law says I can't tell soldiers to disobey their officers. I can't say, "Don't be a soldier." And I wouldn't do that. Not exactly. Not in so many words.
What do you mean?
I mean that if I went, I'd be careful. No matter how closely they listened, they would never hear me tell American soldiers not to shoot German soldiers.
Oh, so you wouldn't actually make a speech against the war?
Exactly.
But I don't understand.
I'd simply tell everyone to vote socialist. That way the feds will have to grit their teeth and leave me be.
Oh, my goodness.
That'd stop Rockefeller and his greedy friends from making millions off the war and making everyone's lives miserable.
You really think socialists can get elected and stop the war?
Absolutely, no doubt.
Eugene, you know how frustrating it is when you stick your head up in the clouds.
How's that sticking my head in the clouds?
Oh, honestly.
I mean, women will finally get to vote in the next election. That'll change everything.
Most wives see things like their husbands do.
I'm depending on it, especially in your case.
Very funny.
Seriously, I don't think all those mothers and wives will vote for people who get their menfolk killed.
And do you think socialists can get us out of the war just by snapping their fingers?
That was the first thing Lenin and his socialists did in Russia after they took over. They got out of the war with Germany.
From what I've read, they're still killing a whole lot of people in Russia. It's the one thing you can count on Russians to do.
I never said no to all war. I said no to this capitalist war. Sometimes you've got to fight to save what you believe in.
That's what you'd say in Canton?
I might.
Why not stick to speeches about how everyone could get fair wages? It's what you've said all your life.
And it's what I'll keep saying. But first, we must stop our boys from being slaughtered over there in Europe.
Is that your version of onward Christian soldiers?
You think I believe I'm like Jesus leading his disciples?
It sure sounds like you're doing that. And maybe heading toward your own crucifixion.
I didn't volunteer to go to Canton. The socialists there are feeling down and need encouragement. It's my duty to help.
Listen to yourself. You could get arrested. You could get killed. This speech could give the government a legal way to stop you, to get rid of you.
Like I told you, if I'm careful in what I say, they can't touch me.
Well, I'll bet they're plotting right now to do that.
You might be right, but
Have you thought about what would happen to me if you got this wrong?
of course I've thought about it.
Then why?
It's one of the main reasons I should go.
Despite your best efforts to change it, we still live in a capitalist society. This is still the real world.
I know.
But if you went to Canton and something happened to you, God forbid, I don't know how I'd survive.
Katie, I hate to admit this, but we're nearly broke already. And the people in Canton would pay good money to hear me speak.
We've always made do, and we always will. Together.
I'm doing my best to take care of us.
I know, dearest one, but most men as old as you don't like dancing right on the edge.
As long as I'm dancing with you, my love.
So stay here with me. Don't go to Canton, Eugene.
Will Eugene Debs take a chance? Go to Canton and speak out against the war? Or will his wife Kate persuade him to reconsider, avoid trouble, and stay home with her? Find out next time in Episode 2 of The Most Dangerous Man. You've been listening to The Most Dangerous Man on Imaginaire Theater. This special 4-part miniseries was co-authored by Roy Schreiber and me. The play featured Paul Rogan as Eugene Debs, Tim McCaffrey as Clyde Miller, Stella Valente as Kate Debs, Hayes Dunlap as Edwin Wertz, and Pilar Uribe as Janet. Script consultant, Mark Boyce. Casting director, Stella Valente. Our theme song comes from Roman Senyk. Other music included Over There by George M. Cohan and Keep the Home Fires Burning by Ivor Novello and Lena Gilbert Brown Ford. Imaginaire Theater is made possible by contributions from our listeners. If you like these plays and want to hear more, please support us. Go to patreon.com/Imaginaire. Become a paying member for as little as $1 per month. Again, that's patreon.com/Imaginaire. All one word. We really appreciate your help. I'm Terry Phillips, inviting you to join us again for the next episode of Imaginaire Theater. It's all in your head.